this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you could strum through Green River and kind of play a lot of the lead licks actually through the tune. And we're going to start off with a couple of lead licks. Actually, we'll talk about two different ways to play the same lick, actually, depending on what part of the neck you want to play around with. So you can start off with that intro lick with an open E string, and then we can take second on the B string, third fret on the G string, and if you kind of strum just those two notes, and then slide them over one fret. So we're taking 2 and 3, sliding them to 3 and 4 on the G and the B string. So we got open E, and then 2, 3 slide. And we'll play some more of that, and then we go back to our slide from the 2, 3 to the 4. And then we go to second fret on the G, open G, open D is a hammer on the second fret, and then we play second fret again, and then we play open A as a hammer on the second fret. So on those, I'm kind of playing the open string, putting down my finger to kind of carry the sound of the second fret, and then open D, and then we go to second fret on the D, and then we could kind of start that lick over again, actually. And that very last note, you may want to consider just playing the low open E, actually, just to kind of back that up, kind of an E note to kick it off. So we got kind of that open 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 2, 0, 0, 2, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2. 2 0 2 0, and then for myself, sometimes I like throwing in the low open or low E on the third fret G note, which would be a cool note to lead back to that E. Might be kind of a cool variation too. So 0 3 4 4 4 3 4 4 4 4 2 0 0 2 2 0 2 0 2 2 0 2 0 3 on the low E string. And most of those notes actually are coming out of something called an E minor pentatonic scale. And actually a lot of the licks actually through the tune, and if you wanted to jam over it, you could work off of that scale. And I have a crazy video called Pentatonic Map, which kind of goes over this particular scale, where you could play open E, third on the low E, 5th fret on the low E, 7th fret on the low E, 5th on the A, 7 on the A, 5th on the D, 7 on the D, 9 on the D, and then 7 on the G, 9 on the G, and then 8 on the B, 10 on the B, 12 on the B, 10 on the high E, and then 12 on the high E string. And you're really only playing 5 notes. We're just playing them in this crazy cool order. So we got open E, and then G, A, B, kind of doing that 3, 5, 7 on the low E, and then a D and an E note on the A string, and then it kind of starts over again. G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E. So you could experiment with that too, if you want to kind of play around with kind of that scale to kind of play some solos over it. There's lots of other ways to play that scale, and if you wanted to back it up with a chord though, kind of working just the rhythm idea, you could work this around an E major chord. And normally you do this first finger on the G string first fret, second finger on the A second fret, third finger on the D second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds like an E major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now you may also dig on lifting off the third finger, kind of making that an E7 through the song, or you could add in your pinky on the B string third, E7 that way. Or another way to do an E major chord would be as a 7th fret bar, third finger over the D, G, and B strings. It's kind of an E major. Or you could work that as an E7 by keeping 7th fret bar, third finger on the D9, pinky on the B9. Kind of working that as an E7. Or you may dig on an E9, where you could do first finger on the D, 6th fret, second finger on the A7, third finger over the G, B, and E. Jazzing it up a little bit for the tune, though. I think it's really kind of more the E7 idea. That might be another possibility you want to play around with. And if you dig on playing those higher voicings, actually, with the bars, if you kind of hit the bars, you could work that intro lick in a different place. So same notes, different place. You could go 6th fret on the G string, 8th fret on the D string. Same 2 notes actually we were playing for the 2 and 3, the C sharp and the A sharp, which kind of leads into our B and our D notes, actually kind of. So that 3 2 3 4 or 2 3 lick to 3 4 lick could become a 6th fret 8th fret on the next string down to the 9 and 7 for a slide. And then from there you kind of see a little piece of the pentatonic map actually, where you could play 7 on the D, 5th on the D, and then 5th on the A is a hammer on the 7 on the A, and then another 7, and then 5th on the low E string, the hammer on the 7, 5 on the A, 7 on the A, another 7 on the A, 5th on the low E's, hammer on the 7, 5 on the A, and then back to 7 on the A. So you could kind of work it around it. Actually, I was kind of hoping, I know this seems like, man, you're talking over my head or something, but the main idea is like you've got this cool pentatonic scale idea that I just threw at you very quickly. And the lick, you could play around with those notes of the scale, and actually even through the tune it can be kind of cool to even just go E string, lick. So you could play around with the scale with kind of an open E idea. Say some stuff with the scale. So I'm just throwing that out there as kind of an open-ended idea here at the beginning. But the main thing is we kind of kick it off with our intro idea. And then we kind of go into our or we back it up with strumming. And you can do that with kind of around the chords. Actually, you could even kind of feel this as just a down idea. If you're just starting out, actually, you could just take the E and just kind of work that E. Da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm kind of feeling an 8 down pulse. It's kind of a quick pulse. If you're just starting out, you may want to just think 4s. And I'm taking the flat of my right hand and kind of laying it down on top of the saddle to make that a little bit muted. So you could work just downs through the song, or you could work a strum pattern. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. And so we took the E and just tried that a lot. Yeah. Or a cool variation of that would be a down, up, down, up, up, down, up. Gives you kind of more strokes to swing, actually, kind of down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Or a cool variation I was playing around with was kind of a down, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, 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 up, up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's even more syncopated. Up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. What you may want to do is switch between those through the song, actually. And then from that intro, actually, we're going into our main verse idea. And we start off on the E major. E, and you'll hear this cool little lick actually come in, kind of like our intro part, but you'll hear this quick lick where you can play 7 on the A, and then 7 on the D as a bend, and then 5th on the B. 5 or 7, 7 bend, 5 on the B. So you might kind of dig on adding to that. And you'll kind of hear the tag lick coming back. Intro lick kind of coming back through the E chords, so you may want to kind of bring that lick back or mix it up a little bit. And then from the E, actually, we end up doing the E wow, that's 8, 9, 10 times. And then we go into a C major chord. When we play C major, first finger goes to B on the 1st fret, second finger on the D 2nd fret, third finger on the A 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that's how the C major chord sounds really, really happy. Now normally around C chords you could lift the 1st finger and make that a C major 7, or you could add the pinky on the B 3rd, make it a C major 9, and kind of say some stuff around the C. But you may want to gravitate towards a C7, where you could take the pinky and kind of put them in on the G on the 3rd fret, give it a little bit more bite. Sounds really nasty. Now another way, if you're gigging on the bar chords, actually you could do this as a bar on 3rd fret, 3rd finger with the D, G, and B for the C chord. Or you could do 3rd fret bar, 3rd on the D 5th, pinky on the B 5th for a C7 chord. Or especially if you're digging on the upper voicings for the E major, you could go to a C major by doing this as an 8th fret bar, second finger on the G9, third finger on the A10, pinky on the D10, C major, or you could lift off the pinky and make that a C7, or you could add in the pinky on the B11, C7, so you kind of dig on that. And then from the C, we'd be going to an A major chord, and normally you do this first finger on the D second finger on the G second, third finger on the B second. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord and it sounds really happy. Now, round A's in general can be kind of cool to lift the third finger and make that an A sus2. Or you could add in the pinky on the B third for an A suspended chord and kind of say some things. Or you may want to take the A major and lift 2, make that an A7 chord and make a little bit more bite and sound more boozy. Or you could put the 2 on the B second fret, pinky on the high third for an A7 chord, kind of nasty cool. Or if you're digging on the bars, you could take the 5th fret bar, second finger on the G6, third finger on the A7, pinky on the D7 for an A major that way. Or you could lift off the pinky for an A7, or you could put in the pinky on the B8, A7. A lot of chord options here, but I always like walking through the options, so you got, I don't know what your level is, I'm not psychic. So it's kind of cool to throw them in just while we're talking about A's, might as well talk about a lot of them. So anyway, you may want to kind of experiment with those, and then randomly on the second A, you'll hear this cool little bass line where you could play the open A twice, and then we go to first fret on the A, second fret on the A to lead back to the E. So on the A, you have kind of the A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, A, 2, 3, 4, O, 1, 2, and you may want to think about just that as one open A, and then you're back to the E. So all the way through that whole verse, our main verse chorus, you got kind of cheat it down, down, up, open 1, 2, and then into E chord. And from there, we'll be repeating that main verse chorus. Now, one other thing I think about adding to the song is bass notes. And a lot of times on that first down, up, down, down, up, down, up, you can throw in a bass for the chord. So on the E's, you have the low E for your bass. On the C's, you have the A for the bass. If you're doing the root position C or the 3rd fret bar. If you're doing the 8th fret bar, you'd have the low E for the bass. On the A, you'd have the A string, unless you're doing the 5th fret bar, in which case you have the low E for the bass. So we tried it with kind of a bass down, up, down, up. You'd have the E. On that part, actually, there's a couple cool licks that kind of come out on that part. You could kind of work a lot of these with just open E first. And randomly, you will hear this cool lick later on, actually, that you may want to kick this part off with. Where you could go 5th fret bend, or 15th fret bend on the B string. So I'm taking 15 on the B string, taking 1, 2, and 3, actually. And then bending the heck out of that. And then you can kind of take your first finger to cover 12 on the high E string. So it's kind of a unison bend. You're taking the D note on the B string and trying to bend it into an E note and then playing an E note after, which is kind of cool. B, bend to E, E note. Which could be kind of cool. And you'll kind of hear that later on. Although the first lick kind of starts on the, well, you could even kick it off with that. And then we go to G string on the 9, 7 on the 9, 9 on the D string, 7 on the D, 5th fret on the D is a bend, and then back to 7 on the A. So randomly, you might want to throw both of those together, actually. Can be kind of a cool way to word that. E, D bend, E, this other lick right after where you can play the open E to kind of set it up again. And then 9 on the D string, and then another 9, 8 on the D, 7 on the D, 5th fret bend on the D, and then 7 on the A. And I like throwing in 7 on the low E, 5th on the A, and then 7 on the A. So you got 9, 9, 8, 7, 5, bend, 7, 7, 5, 7, open, 9, 9, 8, 7, 5, bend, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, open, B, B, let's see, oh yeah, that's right, B, B, B flat, A, G bend, E, B, D, E, kind of dig on that lick. And then there's another lick where you kind of hear the D string on the 7 get bent. You may want to play that more than once. And then 5th on the D, and then 7 on the A. Might be kind of a cool thing to throw in. And then at the very end, actually, at the bridge part, you'll hear the 15 on the B get bent into that unison bend, and then you hear the cool little pentatonic walk down, actually, kind of that 12 on the high E, 15 on the B, 12 on the B, 14 on the G, 12 on the G as a bend, and then 14 on the D. It's very cool and just kind of straight through the pentatonic scale. So E, D bend, E, E, D, B, A, G bend, E, E, D, B, A, G bend, E. Now randomly, that pentatonic scale though is all over the place actually. E's and G's and A's and B's and D's and E's, that's all your open strings. So you could throw in all your opens, actually technically that's a pentatonic scale. And there's lots of other ways to play there, or places to play those notes. Normally I do these as 1 note per string patterns and then build them into the 2 note per string patterns. But you have all the opens, then you got 3rd on the low E, 2 on the A, 2 on the D, 2 on the G, 3 on the B, 3 on the high E. And the next piece would be all the 5s but G's 4. And the next piece is all the 7s but D's 8. And so, and then we got 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. And then all the 12th frets are part of it. And then over the top, it kind of repeats everything, kind of adding 12 frets. You got 15, which is like 3. You got 14, which is like 2. 14, which is like 2. 14, which is like 2. 15, which is like 3. And then 15, which is like 3. Is kind of where those notes are on the guitar. Normally, you piece these together into 2 note patterns, kind of 03, 02, 02, 02, 03, 03, kind of working that first pattern. And you'll kind of notice that first lick is kind of all around that pattern 1. Or you could work this pattern 2, where you got 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 3, 5. Or pattern 3 would be 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 4, 7, 5, 8, 5, 7. I know I've just given you enough stuff to work on for months. But then we got 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 7, 9, 8, 10, 7, 10. And then pattern 5s, 10, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12, 9, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12. And then I just did a video on Munson Jam Tracks the other day talking about pattern 1 and how you moved around for different keys. So this is the E minor pentatonic scale, works over E7 blues. And our pattern 1 starts from 12 on the low E. So you got 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15 is kind of pattern 1 again. Now what that means is you could take licks, and a lot of the licks from the tune are built out of that scale, and you could kind of work some vocabulary with it. So you could work hammer-ons in the scale, pull-offs through the scale, slides, bends, just anything technical that you can think of. And through the bridge part, actually, a lot of the song is just working that E vamp. So you can even throw in the low open E to kind of just back yourself up to kind of have that note going on. Will sound like home bass actually when you're working the notes around it. So anytime you're playing the E note, it's kind of that 12 on the high E or the 14 on the D or the 12 on the low E. They're going to sound like they're more at rest. So that's kind of your period. So randomly, as we're working through the tune too, you may want to experiment with just kind of making up some of your own licks in that scale too. And from that, through that whole bridge part, actually, our bridge just kind of mixes things up a little bit. We'd have that E. Into our C chord a little earlier than you might anticipate. Our 1, 2, be back to E. And from there, then we start in our next verse. Now, you could really take any of these ways actually and kind of mix it up. So find a way that works for you and just kind of run with it. But we got E. Then we go back into kind of our well bridge. That's the basics of how you can strum along with Green River by CCR. So good luck.